Brian Thompson. I play the bounty hunter.
She may not be able to recognize him. He has the ability to disguise himself.
Disguise himself how?
The fearless man from outer space who comes to Earth to terminate any aliens. What is that thing?
What we call the gimlet.
On the set, we call it an ice pick. They have to make that thing work, they have to run an air hose all the way up my arm and down my...
What does it sound like? Our supervising sound editor came up with maybe 20 different sounds. Some were hydraulic, some were pneumatic, to make just the right sound for this gimlet. And I went to the microphone, I went, and he said, "That's good." That's me. I'm the guy.
The X-Files, 5 nights a week, only on FX.
I'm Tom Braidwood. I'm one of the first assistant directors. Essentially, the ADs are responsible for figuring out the best way to shoot.
This camera here, over here, is over on you folks.
And we work out a schedule for the show.
Going back to set.
I play the character of Frohike in The Lone Gunman.
Unbelievable.
They were casting the gunman and couldn't find anyone he liked for Frohike.
I don't think we've been followed.
I happened to be walking by the casting office.
Just out of the blue.
He turned to the producers and he said, "We need somebody slimy like Braidwood."
What the heck, we tried it, we did it, and he did a great job, and he's Frohike now.
I can kill you whenever I please.
I'm usually in prep on a show and, you know, we just have to work it out. Weirdness sort of ends up being late at night or something that we do those kinds of scenes. It started as a kind of a lark and it's turned into be a lot of fun.
The X-Files, 5 nights a week, only on FX.
Duane Barry was no wacko. They did find things in him.
My gum, sinus cavity, here in my belly button.
I had to be lifted. Did a plaster of a back for me, and when I was, it was very real. It was a hydraulic that pulled me out when I was having the dental work done. They kept. I kept having to scream, but the water kept, because they were squirting. I was drowning. Duane Barry was telling the truth.
I believed him.
Sometimes when you want to believe so badly, you end up looking too hard.
Can't touch Duane Barry anymore, yeah.
You can't touch Duane Barry anymore! The X-Files, 5 nights a week, only on FX.
My name is Darren Morgan. Flukeman, which is a piece we're extremely proud of. Writer on The X-Files and an occasional actor.
There it is, tucked away in the far corner behind the pipes.
I'm the Flukeman.
Oh my God.
We made a suit that came down to the elbows and the knees to allow it a little bit more of that baggy sort of worm-like look.
How big can these things get?
His feet cast actually in a straight-out position, but it was a neat look when you see him crawling around because he's got this sort of flipper sort of look to his feet. And then a facial prosthetic, contact lenses, and teeth that came out of the prosthetic, as well as the distended lips. I think the application in total was about 12 hours, and then they put me in the tube, and they go, action, cut, get him out of there. How does he go to the washroom? There was no hole provided in the Flukeman suit to relieve oneself, which isn't as pleasant as it sounds.
I don't know. But it looks like I'm gonna have to tell Skinner that his suspect is a giant blood-sucking worm after all.
The X-Files, 5 nights a week, only on FX.
I'm William Davis. I play the cigarette-smoking man on the X-Files. He's been described as the devil, the dark force, the counterbalance, Mulder and Scully, basically concealing information.
The truth would have caused panic. Panic would have caused lives.
You can't protect the public by lying to them. It's
done every day, that people couldn't handle. He seems to work for the Pentagon and have a insidious international, if not interplanetary, power base.
I want his name.
I don't know his name.
You know how to get it.
These men don't have names.
We really don't know his name.
Cigarette smoking man.
Cancer man.
I like Il Fumatore.
Bill Davis doesn't smoke cigarettes.
I hadn't smoked for 16 years, so I was truly clear of the habit.
The X-Files, 5 nights a week, only on FX.
You know, you watch those National Geographics and a snake always eats a gazelle or something. It looks really cool. You need a snake to eat a guy.
It would take a large python hours to consume and weeks to digest a human being.
You really do watch the Learning Channel.
We had an actor named Dan Butler, and Dan was absolutely scared to death of snakes. Little bitty snakes scared him, let alone 19-foot long, 275-pound snake. We wrapped 19 feet of boa constrictor around Dan. We had to put some sweat on him. Well, by the time we needed to spritz him up, he didn't need the makeup lady. He was just gushing buckets of sweat. We had to do the dialogue. He couldn't talk.
When we plot out the stories, I always put them on index cards and then divide them into 4 acts. First card to go up was the end of Act 3. Guy gets eaten by a snake, and then you go, okay, what else happens?
That was also our last X-Files for that season. So we had a message that the witch left for Mulder and Scully on a blackboard. It said, "Nice working with you." And that was our message to the crew and cast.
The X-Files, 5 nights a week, only on FX.
I'm Stephen Williams. I play a character called Mr. X.
Who are you?
Who I am is irrelevant. We don't know who X is. We don't know whether he works for the FBI. We don't know whether he works for another agency. We know that the original prototype for the character was Deep Throat.
They only have one policy. Deny everything.
The man is fearful every time he steps out to the open.
I don't like these hasty public meetings, Agent Mulder.
He has his own agenda.
Give me the weapon, Agent Mulder.
No.
Saving Mulder's life endeared X to the fans a little bit more.
Actually, that role was cast as a woman. We shot the show with the woman, and they just decided that the woman part didn't work.
And I fit the bill.
After tonight, we cannot make contact for several weeks.
The X-Files, 5 nights a week, only on FX.
My name's Angie BEMBEN. I'm the key hairstylist. My job is to design the hair. David Jillian's everybody's hair, the monsters. Most of the wigs we do are for Toby Lindala's special effects dummies. Someone who's been killed or turns into a monster, so we will have to match the wig to the actual person. I was asked to make actors look like animals. The chicken was spotted, so we put white extensions in and we cut them all with razors to make them look like feathers, and it actually turned out really well.
There's magic going on here, Mulder.
Jillian has really curly hair, so working up here in Vancouver, it's very moist, so it's a huge battle to keep her hair straight because we think the straight looks better than the wavy. For example, Detour we shot in the woods and it was pouring rain, but we had to pretend it wasn't raining.
It's interesting.
Why is that interesting?
You can't do that. But we had to, so fans will notice Jillian's hair looks different in that episode because suddenly she has all this curly hair.
And I would appreciate it if we could keep this matter confidential.
The X-Files, 5 nights a week, only on FX.
I wrote Our Town, which was about cannibalism in a chicken processing town.
Chickens feed on chickens?
I know it doesn't sound too appetizing, but it is nutritious. Where everyone starts coming down with Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, and Mulder and Scully can't figure out why.
You're saying this is a third victim of Creutzfeldt-Jakob? You just got through telling me that 2 cases would be statistically impossible.
Because they don't realize they're all cannibals and they've been eating infected brain tissue.
You think these people were eaten?
People were just disturbed by it and they couldn't eat their dinners. I mean, it had things like people eating other people, but it just didn't occur to me that people would be as bothered by it as they seem to be. A little known fact is that virtually every character in that episode is named after a real-life cannibal.
Just got off the phone with Dr. Randolph. He said this driver had the same symptoms as Paula Gray and George Kearns.
And I went to the library to do the research about the episode, and I had a very hard time because people have stolen all the books on cannibalism. Cannibalism is just one of those things. It's just inherently interesting.
Part of our town.
The X-Files, 5 nights a week, only on FX.